Hey guys, Dan and Moxy here. Just a quick word to say we're keeping all of these old UTS podcast episodes available to you, still free of charge, on all of our platforms. But be aware, now that we're independent, we are no longer the official podcast of Cheltenham Saracens Rugby Club.
Also, all of our social media platforms will remain the same, but our SoundCloud page has a brand new address. You can find that at soundcloud.com/the UTS podcast.
You are listening to UTS, the official podcast of Cheltenham Saracens RFC.
Hey guys, come on in, get comfortable, put your feet up, put your headphones in. You're listening to the UTS podcast. As always, I'm your host, Dan Lodge, joined by my broadcast partner, Mark Moxy Collier.
Hello.
And we are coming to you live, almost, but not from Sherry Corner in King George V. We are actually coming from one of the amazing studios right here at the University of Gloucestershire's Park campus. Before we get into things, please remember this is a completely amateur podcast for a completely amateur rugby club, produced and organised entirely by volunteers such as myself, such as Moxy, and this week Vicky, who's in the tech booth, the control room, I think the proper name is for it. And we bring this show to you absolutely free on the first Friday of every single month. And as a volunteer project, we're not able to accept financial donations, but we do hope you can support the podcast by sharing it on whatever social media pages you use, be it Facebook, be it Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever you use, or even by text or by email, or, if you write a letter to someone, if you've got a pen pal, happy days, tell them about it, word of mouth, whatever you want to do, as long as it helps us spread our message. As we do on every single show, we appeal to any of our local listeners who may have a local business, or at least know somebody who does and might be interested in supporting the show and advertising on the cheap. Contact us directly at utspodcast@gmail.com and set your subject header as advertising. February was a pretty mixed bag, it's safe to say, for the Sarries. The 18th being a pretty special one, as the Sarries hosted local rivals Cheltenham North in front of a bumper crowd at KGV for the first ever James Connolly Memorial Cup, and good God did it produce. We'll get into a little bit of that during the show, so you'll hear a lot more about that. But there was some great rugby played, and it was great to see actually an old head, I don't think he's going to thank me for that at all actually, return to the squad at last minute with Buster Matzovic coming into the team. And we caught up with him and Jimmy Mack after the match to hear their thoughts.
Oh mate, massive occasion. Truly honoured to get called up 10 minutes before the game, because poor Coops got a calf strain. But it's been, I think, 3-4 years, probably even longer since I've played first team down here.
Have you got the bug again?
Mate, I've always had the bug. It's just work's kept me from doing it,
Would have been nice to see a try from you though.
Oh, I loved it, mate. Especially I thought I might have been in down the bottom here.
My baby!
But too slow and old.
No, Jimmy Mack doesn't get interviewed because he knocked on about 1 million times today.
That was just in the first half, Jim, wasn't it?
I broke my finger.
I can only describe that, ladies and gentlemen, as a Quasimodo of a finger. I'm not even sure. I don't think that does it justice.
Jim. What are you showing it for?
That's the reason. But there we go.
Yeah.
Got to be over the moon with that performance, Jim.
Over the moon, Lodgy, yeah. Great performance, mate. Fitting tribute for the main man himself. So, happy days.
Happy days to stamp a real authority, not just with the 42-3 scoreline, but also with that defensive performance.
Oh, outstanding, yeah. Always pleased with a no tries conceded. Yeah, and I mean, they didn't really come close, so happy days. Really
is that something you specifically worked on, or?
The main aim today was just to win the game, really, Lodgy. The league points didn't matter. It was all about the win. It was 3-0 or 47-3. It was all we won. We were happy, mate.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jimmy Mack and Buster there. Great to have them on the show. Hopefully they'll come on in the future as guests. While we're on the subject of Saturday the 18th of February, we also got a quick word in with Billy Burns to hear his opinion on the big win.
Yeah, it was a really good performance. Really happy for the boys. Obviously a lot riding on the game today with it being for JC, and I think it was a real Cheltenham Saracens performance. I thought our defence was outstanding. To keep them to not scoring a try was great, and our attack on the back of that was really good as well.
Was there anything specifically defensive-wise you planned for that, or was there anything you were expecting, or was it just that's how it went?
Yeah, we probably didn't start the game in defence how we wanted to. We probably had too many guys going in trying to steal ball that wasn't there, and ended up giving away a few penalties. But after sort of 10-15 minutes we worked that out, and we said we'd leave the breakdown alone and keep players on their feet so we could get good line speed, and the boys did that, so it was great to see.
considerably more dominant second half. Was there anything that was said at half-time to bring that out?
No, I think you play against good teams in this league, so you've got to break them down, and we pride ourselves on our fitness. And I think in the end it was just we kept making them make tackles, and it takes its toll on the body, and then we could run away with it in the end.
Superb performance all round. If you could pick a man of the match, who would it be?
Oh, you put me on the spot. Man of the match, I thought Luke Morgan was outstanding for us tonight, and then up front, I think Chris True, for a player who's not played much Union and come in the back row, did a really good job, carried well, good ball skills, and was good in defence as well.
Awesome, thank you. We'll kick off February by looking at the results for the youth section, in a little bit of a change of pace for the show, because why not? During the week I caught up with Moxy to find out how the pups got on.
The under-14s kicked off a busy February with a trip down to Thornbury on the 5th. On a beautiful, clear but cold morning, the boys soon made their intentions known and were 7-0 up within 4 minutes. The Sarries showed their determination and will to win all the individual victories across the park. Our pack didn't take a backward step all game, with Thomas stealing all but one of Thornbury's scrums. The pups did everything well on the day, but the most impressive part of the match was the final 10 minutes, where the opposition were camped on our 22, mostly within the 5 metres. But even with Adam in the bin for an alleged professional foul, our defence was as good as I've ever seen it, with tackle after tackle stopping their attacks and eventually leading to a mistake to allow the Sarries to clear their lines. A monumental effort by the boys as we ran out 33-0 winners. Our tries were scored by Captain Noah, Joe, Growler, Kean and Alex. Kean converted 4 out of the 5. Our men of the match were Ryan and Kean, who was brilliant today with his counter-attack running. Again, a special mention to Ryan, Leo and Mr T for helping Thornbury to field a front row and ultimately a proper contest in the scrum. Well done and thank you, lads. Yeah, Thornbury, like Berry Hill, they've been struggling this season, and we wish them all the best for the rest of this season and for the future. On the 12th, Long Levens made the short trip over the border to the Sarries. Due to school half-term, illness and injuries, both sides only managed to field 12 players each, which made for a fast, open game of rugby. That was handy because it was a cold morning, and being involved helped keep the boys a little warmer. A bit like basketball, the tries came frequently. You score, we score, you score, etc. Until the final whistle was blown by Billy Fishwick, who stepped in at the last minute. Thank you, mate. With the Sarries under 14s running out winners 38 points to 26. Our tries were scored by Joe, Ryan, Joel managed to pick up 2, Taylor and Kean. Our normal kicker Kean was away, but Joel stepped in and gave the selectors a great headache by playing really well at 10 and slotting 4 out of the 6 and only narrowly missing the other 2. Our men of the match were Charlie Maker, again for showing how destructive he can be with the ball in hand with his Samoan sidestep, and our very own Jason Robinson, twinkle toes in Kean. Still hard to believe that he's only this season started playing rugby. Just shows what listening, asking questions and training hard can do for your game. Sunday the 19th was a training session because unfortunately Breeden couldn't raise a side to play us. We had a good turnout and ultimately a good session. The 26th saw the boys return to action when Evesham came down to KGV. I unfortunately was unable to attend this match, but I am reliably informed by George Efty that I missed an absolute cracker. From the first whistle, our lads were keen to put the closely contested match earlier in the season out of memory and show the Evesham team who was boss. We won that down there as well. I've also been told by many who were there that I missed possibly the try of the season, made even worse in that it was my son Harry that scored it. But that was only one of 7 tries scored by the boys that day. They were touched down by Kean, who got 2, Joe picked up 2, Harry, Growler and our skipper Noah. Kean added the extras to 3 of the tries to make the final score 41 points to 5. Our men of the match were Terminator Toby and Joe. This, I'm sure, is giving the selection committee a great headache ahead of the next match, which is our County Cup Plate quarter-final. which is going to be a very tough but winnable tie against Minchinhampton under-14s.
Fantastic stuff. Thanks to Moxy for putting that one together for us. Quite a month for the pups, it looks like. Looking at the senior teams, they only had 2 competitive fixtures in the month of February. The first team came away with a clean sweep, 21-0 win over Berry Hill on the 11th. That was at King George V. As mentioned before, we did pick up a big 42-3 win over local rivals Cheltenham North on the 18th. The second team were also in league action, kicking off February with an away loss to Lydney United, 43-13 on the 11th. And they faced Matson on the 18th. We don't have an actual result for that, but we have been told we came out on the losing end of that one. Unfortunately, no third team games at all in February, which was massively disappointing. It would be really, really good to get those guys out again. Hopefully March will provide that for us. No guest this month. We've decided, with so much controversy going on with the Six Nations, we've decided to cover that for an episode. We'd have liked to have had our resident referee, Phil Waters, who joined us on the January episode, on the line to talk with us. Unfortunately, he's away training, so we weren't able to get that. Hopefully, though, we might do a mini pod later on in March, where we will maybe sit down with him for 10 minutes, quarter of an hour, and we'll discuss that and how to deal with it. That's another subject on the list that me and Moxy will talk about, so buckle up. We'll be back right after this. Big game on the 18th, February 18th. Cheltenham Saracens versus Cheltenham North.
Yeah, it was a massive game, mate.
But it was really good to see, not just the really good scoreline, because who doesn't love that? But the fact we didn't concede any tries.
Thing is, I mean, that day was the rugby was only part of it, really. It was what the whole day meant to Sarries and Cheltenham North.
Yeah,
we can't forget them. They played their part. The sidelines were full. The balcony was full.
Yeah, it's great to see.
The clubhouse trying to get a drink during the game and after the game was just virtually impossible.
Yeah,
there were so many people there. It was brilliant.
I tried interviewing people and it was just a nightmare.
I mean, that just shows the mark of the man. They were all there for one person.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, absolute horrible the fact that we even had to have the JC Memorial Cup.
Yeah, no age.
But man, what a turnout.
Yeah.
What a turnout. Like, completely ignoring the result and completely ignoring the rugby of it as a whole, to see so many people turn out for that was just incredible.
Yeah. I can probably honestly say I've never seen that many people there.
Yeah, no, not even. I think the last time we saw a crowd like that, and I'm not going to do like a shameless sevens plug here, but I would say actually combination day.
Yeah, combination final day.
But bearing in mind, we had 6 teams on show there.
Yeah. Funny enough, that was against the North as well.
Yeah. And it was just, actually, funnily enough. And 2 teams in a league brought together by one man to have a following that big was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, there are even people there from Cheltenham Tigers and other teams, other followers of other teams. It wasn't just Cheltenham Saracens and Cheltenham North. It was everybody that knew him were there.
It was incredible to see it. I thoroughly enjoyed the day, even though I was going to say working. I'm not even sure I was working. I don't know. I don't quite know how I'd describe it. Receiving interviews. I tried to get one with Aaron, but he politely declined.
Yeah, I think
which is understandable. Maybe completely out of order of me to even suggest an interview with him on that day. I don't know. But he was very polite about it. I tried to be as polite as possible about it. And I've been umming and ahhing about this since the actual day of it, so I might as well address it. I'd quite like to address it. At no point was I trying to kind of pressure him into it. I think a couple of people thought I was trying to pressure him. I felt, because I interviewed Jimmy Mack and I interviewed Buster and Billy Burns, I felt with it being his dad's cup, I didn't want to not give him the chance to speak.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I mean, I'd never force anyone to talk, with a microphone in their face. Some people love it, some people don't. You can't make people talk, and even if you try to, you're going to make them run.
Yeah.
So, I offered him the opportunity. I'd have loved to have been able to have a proper chat with him. I'd have loved to have him on, and if he's listening, That slot is more than open to Aaron if he wants to come on.
Yeah, hopefully one day we'll have a chat with him.
I mean, who knows how long this will last? Could be up into the season, could be in the next season, could be the 3 years that I'm still at uni and I've got these facilities available to me.
Yeah, let's see where it goes.
But yeah, the offer was there. He declined. I'm not gonna kick off about it. I'm not gonna make a fuss out of it. If he doesn't want to, that's his choice. Because I know for me, if it was like the other way round, I probably wouldn't be able to either.
No, everyone's different.
Yeah, that's it. And
it is, and you know, the whole thing is still raw.
Yeah,
you know, we're still coming to terms with it. You know, never mind Aaron. You know, so.
Yeah. But yeah, the chance was there. We might even have a little bit of. I massively regret trying to interview him actually, because not because I felt like I kind of forced him into making a thing, but because Scouse got on the microphone instead of him.
Again,
because he missed us so much from the last month's episode. So if you listen right to the end, and I'm going to make you listen all the way to the end, because I know some people decide to drop out after the main conversation, after our feature interview. But yeah, if you listen all the way to the end after the show finale, there's a little bit of I don't even know how to describe it, to be honest. A moment of Scousism. We'll go with that. We'll go with a Scousism.
Well, yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll get a Scouse part 2 at some point. After his interview in the previous podcast, he when we turned the mics off, he gave us plenty of gold.
Yeah,
and well,
I could have kicked myself forever and a day because we didn't collect any of that. I should have just left it running, really. Just idiot. What an idiot.
Mind you, the beat machine might have been worn out.
Yeah, that was a long old edit. That was a long old edit on the last month's episode. Some of the stuff that I had to take out that he put in, and none of that stuff, by the way, will be making it to the end of the series outtakes episode either. That's just no. That's not happening. That's a complete and utter no.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's have a chat about the rugby then on that day.
Yeah. Let's turn our attention to that. Oh, what a start by the Sarries. That absolute just I focus on that specifically because obviously you weren't entirely around for the first team last season and for the start of this season. Unfortunately, I was working all the time with them on the social media front, so I went to a lot of those games. And our slow start, like the amount of times we were picking up wins, but we would have been absolutely hammering teams had we started those games the way we started against the North.
Yeah,
you know, or if we'd have started that at that speed against Old Richians earlier in the season at Sandy Lees, I reckon we possibly could have come away with a result from that.
Right, okay.
Because our start before, particularly last season, not so much this season. I think this season we've really kind of tuned it up. We've done a very good job doing that, and I imagine that's all down to Billy and Jake for kind of drumming that quick start in.
Yeah.
But our slow start was just constant. I mean, you saw it yourself actually, just thinking about it at the North game when we played them in the cup, in the combination.
Yeah, in the final.
Yeah,
went 2 tries down.
Yeah,
after about 10 minutes.
In 10 minutes, and we're 14 points down.
Mm.
And there was that little bit inside my head, and I was like, "Here we go." You know, that slow start is gonna absolutely kill us again.
But yeah, I mean, going back to this game, started off really quickly. Then there was a patch of about sort of 10 minutes, wasn't there, when nothing really happened.
Yeah, very quiet.
In regards point scoring.
Mm.
But then the floodgates opened.
Yeah, I think the North had a penalty about quarter of an hour in.
Yeah,
and they missed it by about 2 foot, and that was a real let off, I thought.
Yeah, because that could have turned a few heads. And
if they'd got that back in, that could have been like, right, you know, we're in touching distance again. It's only 4 points, you know, so there's that chance to maybe kind of get that momentum going right off that penalty. Luckily enough, they don't get it. Maybe that's actually what kind of psychologically just did it for them.
Yeah,
you know, that kind of do they trust their kicker?
Yeah, because I think he missed a few that day, didn't he?
I know there was definitely one. I know he converted one.
Yeah,
and I know he missed one earlier.
I think he missed 2 or 3 kicks.
So, not to single him out, there were plenty of chances that they had and that we had to score.
Yeah.
I mean, we had times where we were camped on their line and couldn't get through. So, rather, I'm trying to give a balanced account here, but it's very easy to sit there and kind of single their kicker out.
Yeah, I mean, talking of sort of balancing out, I said to a few guys afterwards that because of what the day meant, Cheltenham North could have had 20 players on that pitch.
Yeah,
we would have won that game, regardless of how many they had.
I think so.
Our hearts were that fired that there was nothing going to stop us winning that game. Yeah,
that's true. And it was actually really good to see people coming back as well. Buster coming off the bench.
Yeah.
Tom Patience came back all the way from Gosport.
Yep.
Shout out actually to anyone who might be listening at Gosport and Fareham. I doubt they are. But just in case, we'll put a thing out on Facebook and let him know he is mentioned. Shout out to Tom Patience.
Put the sherry bottle down and put your earphones in.
Yeah. Actually, I'll tell you while we're here, actually, we'll just take a minute, because I spoke to Tom Patience on the day, so we'll have a couple of seconds just to hear what he thinks.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, they're pretty decent to be back. Good game, hard fought. I think, in all honesty, we had it from the off. In a brutal way, I think we had it from the off. A few slip-ups, but it was good to watch. Good from both sides. A lot of passion.
Do you miss it?
I miss it a lot, yeah, a lot. I do wish I was here again. But
do you miss Sherry Corner as much?
More so than the rugby, actually, yeah.
What did you think of the really, really quick start from the Sarries?
Yeah, it was good. I haven't been around for a few months and there's a few new faces. What I would say is, it's, from what I can tell, it's benefited the team greatly. There wasn't a point in the game where I thought that it could be lost. And I think having a few new faces in there, mix it up a bit, is probably the reason for that.
Awesome. Thanks very much. That was Tom Patience. Social legend of the Sarries, you could say.
Yeah, he's introduced a couple of games, hasn't
he? Yeah, you could say that.
Crisp Jenga is one of them.
Crisp Jenga, yeah. Oh, nightmares. And I don't even play it. Although, actually, I do remember this going back. Christmas 2015. Do you remember Dom? Shout out to Dom Richardson if he's listening. With the moose head Christmas jumper.
I think you'll find it wasn't a moose, was it?
Was it not a moose?
It was a reindeer. It's Christmas jumper.
Of course it is. Yeah. Why would he have a moose jumper at Christmas? What? It's in my defence. It's early in the week. So yeah, not my fault. Yeah, moose deer.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Moose.
Moving swiftly on. What was I going to say? Yeah, no, and he put the crisp. Dom put the crisp on the moose/deer antlers, and managed to position the crisp right on top of the pile without spilling it, without actually using his hands and just using the jumper. That's my crisp Jenga moment right there.
Good work, Dom.
I wish I'd caught it on video. I got photos of it, but I wish I'd caught it on video because that was something special right there. Probably one of those ones you couldn't recreate.
No. I won't. No, I doubt if you could do it again.
Yeah, because I totally expected him to fail big time.
I think everybody else was hoping so as well, so you get the drink.
Yeah, he never seems to fail. I don't understand it. But yeah, he's introduced that. What else has he introduced? There's been a few things. There's got to have been a few things.
I don't know. I've seen the video of him torpedoing a bottle of sherry.
Oh. And that's not a small bottle either, is it?
No, that was pretty good.
There's some big bottles of sherry they have up there at the club. That's a lot of sherry. I just try. He's got to have brought more than that to the club, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. I can't think at the minute, but yeah.
Just shanter. and if any of our listeners don't know what shanter means, I'm not going to explain it to you. Ask your parents. Talk to Liam Cooper, he'll sort you out. He's got plenty of shanter. He's like Santa Claus with shanter. He just can't stop giving it out. Shout out. I'm doing a lot of shout outs today. I'm doing a lot of shout outs for this show. Of course, Liam was our guest number 1. Actually, he started all of this.
Yep.
So you've all got him to blame. But anyway, yeah, back to the rugby. Obviously, we heard Patience there, mention we've got a few new names in the squad this season. Obviously, he's been gone. Luckily enough, I think we've been in quite a good position where we've been able to replace him. And I don't mean that in a kind of negative way, but when you have quality leave, you've got to have quality come in. And I think we're quite lucky to have got that. Actually, Chris True had a storming game in the back row. I think he played at 8. Because I think Coops was meant to play at 8.
Yeah, Coops, unfortunately, he injured his calf in the warm-up.
Mm.
And
because I missed a warm-up, actually. I only arrived like minutes before kick-off.
Well, yeah, I got there and Jay was working on his calf.
Yeah.
And he was obviously pulled from the starting lineup, which is a big blow. And subsequently, he's had some worse news than that.
Yeah, I was going to say to you, have you heard anything about that?
Yeah, he was in A&E with he's being scanned for a suspected broken neck. Don't quite know how that happened.
Yeah.
Luckily, he hasn't got a broken neck.
That's good to hear then, because I did wonder because I hadn't heard anything.
But he, in his own words, he's been told he's got the neck of a very old man, and the doctors unfortunately have said don't ever play rugby again. So he's unfortunately had to retire now.
Wow, that sucks.
Yeah,
that really sucks because he was one of the few he loved it.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I mean he's even at his age, you know, he's
we won't thank you for that one. Bloody hell, put the Zimmer frame on him already. Jesus.
Mid-40s, but playing like a like a 39-year-old. No, he was basically getting himself back into the first team and playing really well, and it's such a shame. Shame that he's had to step down.
It's the last thing because it was so sudden. I don't think anyone really expected it.
I don't think he did. I don't really know what actually happened, but to go in with that and come out and be told you can't do one of the things you love, it's not great. I mean, hopefully he can still, because he referees the under-14s.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I was going to say I've seen him referee.
So hopefully he's okay to do that.
Oh yeah, as long as he stays in the game.
Yeah, I think he will.
Oh yeah, he'd go mad without it though, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
he'd go mad without something to do. So yeah, actually, shout out to Coops. Actually, we've done a shout out to everybody in the world so far today. Shout out if you're listening. Why not? It'd be interesting to see if we can get Coops on.
If you're listening, I apologise for saying your age. I did actually say it, but I alluded to it. So.
That's all right. We might bleep that out. We might do. I don't know.
Don't hurt.
I'm sorry. I've just been distracted there by Vicky hand waving. Is everything okay in there? I'm getting a thumbs up. She's turned her microphone off. She's very microphone shy for the first time ever.
So, I can come back.
It wasn't an invitation. I was just checking you were all right.
I haven't died yet. It's all good.
Yet?
Yeah.
Still awake?
Still alive, yeah.
So yeah, safe to say, February 18th, JC Memorial Cup. Result and everything in tow. Probably, it's safe to say, one of the best days we've had up at the club, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's just a shame for the reason.
Yeah. But man, what a way to remember him, though.
Yeah.
Holy Melly. That was an unbelievable
event.
event.
I would have loved it. I would have loved to have been there for the game and the crack and the beer afterwards.
Mad. Mad day. Incredible. By the looks of things, I did see a picture. He won't thank me for this at all, actually. But I did see a great picture of former North man, current Sarries man, Cressy Creswell.
Okay.
Absolutely out of it on his...
asleep on the sofa.
Asleep on the sofa.
Yeah, I saw that.
Courtesy of his daughter. Shout out to Cressy if he's listening. He probably isn't. He's got better things to do than...
So, what was the final score, Dan, on the day?
I want to say 42-3. I want to say 42. I really should know, as you know, a podcaster. This is kind of my job to know stuff.
I'll be honest, I should know.
It was. Yes, it was. I'm just looking at it now on my laptop.
I should know because I was actually doing the scoreboard.
Yes, you were. You've taken out. Yeah. You should know that. Yeah, I see you've been thrown into my old job.
Getting plenty of
Unlucky.
plenty of hassle from the balcony.
Unlucky about that then. Although I noticed you didn't need a chair, which was, I'm slightly envious, but then again, me using the chair was also kind of like me doing squats. So, and if anyone needed squats, it was definitely my fat ass. So, you know, silver linings and little benefits and all of that. But yeah, safe to say, I don't think that could have gone any better.
Yeah, it was a great day.
I mean, like the result itself says a lot. I kind of felt a little bit bad for the North, actually, a little bit at the end.
Nah.
I think that just about draws the line under that. We'll move on to the other talking point in rugby. The Six Nations.
Okay.
Tackles and rucks and offside lines, oh my.
Italian Space Invaders.
That's a very good way to describe it, yeah. I didn't see the match, unfortunately. I have read quite a lot about it, actually. I've read a considerable amount about it. From what I can gather, there's only an offside line behind the hindmost foot of the hindmost player of the ruck. Italy didn't.
Only if it is a ruck.
Only if it is a ruck, and Italy didn't contest the ball, so there's no offside line.
A ruck is where one player from each side is contesting the ball.
Yeah.
After the tackle.
Now, is that for me, or is that for the casual listener who might not know? Or is that for a mix of...
I think I'm just trying to find out. I'm just trying to talk myself into what it is.
It could be for you, actually. I thought he was just being sarcastic and trying to teach me about rugby.
And then, yeah, obviously, then they have to. The offside line is the hindmost, behind the hindmost foot in the
hindmost player. Yeah. Because there was a bit of a lot. Well, I say a bit. There was a lot. There was a lot of a furore, I suppose you could use to describe it, regarding the laws. Some for it. Some think it's a really, really genius idea, actually, in play into the rules.
Well, personally, as an England fan and obviously an Englishman, I thought it was genius.
Mm.
I thought, they were never going to beat England playing rugby and playing rugby properly.
Mm.
So they had to come up with some sort of plan to disrupt and settle in England. They did exactly that. In that first half, they were unlucky to come away, with so few points.
I saw so many different opinions about it. I don't know. I was conflicted.
I also agree with Eddie Jones that it wasn't a game of rugby. It was a farce, really.
Yeah.
But Italy, as I said, Italy had to do whatever they could to try and win that game. And I mean, England were probably always going to win it.
Oh yeah.
But after half time, when they sort of realised, don't commit yourself to any contact situation. Run with the ball, get the big guys going through the middle. They were always going to put points on, and they did that with two quick early tries in the second half, and from then on it was just one-way traffic, really.
It was an interesting one as well, because I think it was James Haskell apparently was recorded asking the referee what happens at a ruck, and was it Roman Poit, the referee?
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, he turned around and basically, for those who didn't see it, suggested he couldn't advise because he was a referee and not a coach.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think that is a brilliant thing for him to say. It was. He's right. He can't coach. It's not up to him to give teams ideas on how to, counter opposition tactics. He's got to referee the game and apply the laws of the game. He can't give tips, ideas, tactics, and he's absolutely right in what he said.
But could you say, though, it could actually be argued against him that if a player is asking him to confirm or just give a little bit of clarity on something, he actually then should be saying,
Dan, he's an international rugby player, a professional international rugby
admittedly,
player.
yeah, no, he should know.
He should know those laws inside out.
Oh no, he should do. I'm not saying he shouldn't. He should definitely. I mean, if you're playing at that level, you've got to know. But at the same time, if he's asking the referee and saying, "Look, sir, I'm not being funny. Why are they constantly what England perceive to be offside?" Should the referee not then just say he's not offside because? Should the referee not be explaining that?
If they're not infringing on the laws, then what's he got to explain?
Yeah, fair point, actually. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. What do you think? Tell us at home. You can get in touch with us at utspodcast@gmail.com. We will read your emails out on the next month's episode, on April's episode. And by then the Six Nations will be well and truly gone. We might even do a special mini pod on it for the end of the series. I don't know. We'll for the end of the Six Nations, we'll see when that is and what occurs with that. But yeah, be interesting. I there's a little bit of me thinks fair enough, and another little bit of me thinks, well, maybe, international standard referee, if he's being asked a question, needs to give a direct answer.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think
even if he were to just say they're not offside because they're not contesting the ruck, there's no ruck, there's no offside line. Even if he says that,
I mean, yeah, he could have said that, but he obviously felt that work it out for yourselves.
Yeah,
because obviously Conor O'Shea and the Italians, they obviously went to the referee before the game and said, "Look, this is what we're going to do. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Are you going to penalise us if we do this?" And they obviously got the answer they wanted, and they showed that in the game.
Eddie Jones came out and said this, and Matt Dawson has come out on Twitter, and I ridiculed the hell out of him. He came out and he claimed that the laws should be changed and that law should be completely done away with. What are your thoughts on that?
You can't change that law. You can't change it. You can change parts of it.
But again, it comes back to that thing that, like, the offside line is at the feet at the ruck. If there's not a ruck, there's no offside line.
Yeah, there's no ruck, there's no offside
line.
So
how do you even go about amending that? This is the thing. This is what I'm thinking literally right now, is how do you go...
I had this conversation earlier with one of the parents of the under-14s, and I thought that. I thought, are we going to change the laws or... And he said, you can't change them. But
yeah.
my feeling is that although you don't change that law, you can change how the players act. And like I said earlier about the Space Invader, where he was by the scrum half waving his arms around. To me, that's that's going against the spirit of the game, not necessarily the laws of the game, but to have that's wrong to me. What I felt Danny Kerr should have done was maybe try to pass the ball, and if it hits the Italian player and gets knocked on, then to me that should have been a deliberate knock on, yellow card, off you go.
Yeah.
So then, as I said earlier, that if they after 2 or 3 players in the bin, England scored 21 points, they're going to soon stop doing that. They're going to revert back to how they were.
Maybe that's what it's going to take.
Exactly, yeah.
Maybe it's stuff like that. Might not necessarily happen. It might just be complete speculation or chat between us. It's hard to tell. I don't know how they're actually going to change that.
Like I say, you can't change the laws. I don't think you can maybe tweak them
unless you do. Is it like rugby league when there's a tackle and he then stands back up to roll the ball with his feet and the defence have to be like 10 yards away or something?
No, you can't do that. You can't move the laws on like that. I think you've got to keep the laws as they are.
But could you just say them. if there is not necessarily kind of like a ruck, but if you're not challenging, you've got to be like a 3 yard.
Yeah, I mean,
almost as if you were contesting the ruck and you've got to be behind that back foot.
Yeah,
would you say there needs to be an automatic line,
or level with the centre of the ruck, or
yeah, or maybe it's
well,
maybe
I say centre of the ruck. It's not a ruck, is it? But
no, but you get what I try to mean now. But or maybe that's the thing. Maybe the referees now, maybe the referee has to stand as an offside line almost. I mean, they do it often enough. You do see it when the ball comes out of the ruck and he steps between the 2 defenders to watch the play.
Yeah.
Maybe where he stands now between the 2 defenders is your new offside line. If you don't contest at a ruck, you've got to be. But then I suppose that opens up its problems of its own.
Yeah.
How are the referee going to be able to look down the line and at the ruck and because then that's going to bring the video referee in more. You'll have more criticisms for referees.
You've also got to stop calling it a ruck if it's not a ruck.
Yeah, what do you call it instead then?
Yeah, I mean it's the tackle area, isn't it?
Well, yeah, tackle area.
Mm.
Well, so essentially, then the referee is your offside line. We'll say 3 yards or so, 3 or 4 yards back from the tackle area. That's your offside line. But again, he's gonna have to call as he sees it, and he's gonna have to be kind of eyes in the side of his head for offside lines.
Yeah.
And then that's going to bring the video ref in more, so that'll slow the game down a little bit as we're getting things called or we're checking things on video. I think that actually could bring refs under more pressure, because we're seeing it more and more now. The more referees rely on the video referees, the less confidence people have in those referees to make instant decisions.
Yeah.
Maybe that's going to feed directly into that and actually make things a whole lot worse. I don't know. I'm completely open to that. I have no idea how you would go about correcting it.
I think again, this is just something that's been sort of thrust upon us, isn't it? From Saturday or from Sunday, and nobody really knows how we're going to deal with it. What we can do if we need to change the laws.
I think it depends how the rugby world reacts to it. If you've got teams left, right, and centre doing it, then you're going to have to address it.
Yeah.
But it's a very grey area.
Yeah, me personally, I think it was a tactical masterpiece by Conor O'Shea at the time. But now, looking back, it's not really in the spirit of the game, is it?
It's not. It's not at all. But it'd be interesting to see how it's dealt with in the future. I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, New Zealand would have clicked on exactly and they've reacted. How? How would New Zealand have reacted to that?
Well, some might say that they're always offside anyway.
There you go. But yeah, I'm assuming there is. Maybe we're just not. Maybe it's just not exactly clear right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can debate that for days, weeks, months, can't you? I
mean, Christ, we'll probably still be here in November. But yeah, maybe that's, I don't know, maybe that is. Maybe you need to have the referee now as the offside line.
Don't know. There's bigger people that more clever than us.
It's a shame Phil Waters, UTS podcast's resident referee and touch judge and general official. I was going to use another word to describe him, but I can't. Shout out to Phil. Hopefully he is listening.
Linesman,
touch judge, linesman.
He was actually fourth official on that game. So
that would have been fantastic to have him on. Unfortunately,
we'll get his thoughts on that at some point.
At some point, we might make a little mini pod. We'll have him back in. We'll bring him into this. Hopefully, into this lovely
sauna.
This lovely sauna studio. And we'll sit down with him again and we'll discuss that maybe for 10 minutes, maybe for a quarter of an hour. However long he feels is necessary. But yeah, it'd be interesting to hear his opinion. Unfortunately, he wasn't available this week for a recording. I think you said he was on a
training camp, and he's got a match tomorrow. Well, I say tomorrow. Depends when you're listening, but that'll be March the 1st. What are your thoughts on the whole Alan Wynne-Jones captaincy about the kick?
Ooh. I honestly don't know.
My feeling is I'm not a kicker, never have been, probably never going to be, but I personally think that if the captain asks you to go for the posts, I think you should be going for the posts.
You follow and what you're given.
And if you're not confident kicking from where he's asking you to kick, then you probably shouldn't be the kicker.
Yeah.
And then to go against him and say no, I want to kick to the corner. I think there's something going on there, something wrong there, especially for him to dig him out after the game as well in the interview.
Yeah,
that's not great.
Yeah,
that's not a great team spirit there. I don't think
that's not what you want to see. I mean, not just for Wales' Six Nation hopes, which are obviously in jeopardy now. But But also you got to think it doesn't bode well for the Lions.
Well, my opinion is that Gatland. I think the Welsh players are lucky that Gatland is the head coach of the Lions.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there'd be very few of them in that.
I mean,
squad.
we mentioned that when we were talking Lions back in was it a December episode?
I can't remember.
I can't remember, man. My life's a blur. Help me. And I think it was December because we did the look back at the year, didn't we? And we discussed there how many of the Wales players would get in if it wasn't for Gatland. And I've got to say, after the performance they put in against Scotland, you've got to say there's maybe 2.
Did we say that Lee Halfpenny were getting because he can kick from distance?
Yeah, I think so. And
We've now got Elliot Daly.
Oh, it makes a right old headache for Gatland now, doesn't it?
Yeah. Is he going to be true to the Welsh guys, or is he going to actually go on form?
I don't know. I think he would probably go on form.
I'd like to think so. I mean,
coming off the back of the last one where he got the win, he got the 2-1 win over Australia, and I think now if he's going to pick up a 2-1 win or a 3-0 win or any kind of win really against the All Blacks, I think he's got to put that strongest team out there. I mean, it's very easy to sit here and, you know, in our little heated box and be able to say, oh, he's playing favourites. At the end of the day, I think he will be worried more about his record as Lions manager rather than the Welsh boys. I think that will be his number one thing. He wants to be able to come out there and say, I beat Australia with the Lions and I beat New Zealand with the Lions.
Yeah.
And I think in order to do that, he's going to have to pick in form.
Oh yeah, ultimately he's going to look at his own personal record and
yeah. But it's not just that. I think if he picks the Welsh boys over those who are in form because of his tie to the WRU, he's got to justify it. And will he be able to?
It's the same I think as well though. But he's seen these guys in training a lot, so he knows what they're capable of, and he knows them players. So sometimes you just instinctively go with what you know.
Then it begs a question though: if he's seeing these guys in training and he's around them all the time in the Wales camp, how come he's not bringing the form out of them in the Six Nations? I mean, be honest. You know how many?
He's not there at the minute, is he? It's Rob Howley, isn't it? So.
Oh, is he not actually with the Welsh setup at the minute?
I don't think he is. I could be wrong.
That's interesting. That
I think he's stepped aside just to concentrate on the Lions and how he's.
Maybe that's it then. Maybe that is his neutrality.
Mm.
Maybe looking at form, because I mean, which is fair enough. Because you know, if you're Lions head coach, if you're the Welsh head coach, you're only going to be able to see those games.
Yeah.
So you're only going to see. I mean, and don't get me wrong, they all play each other, so you'll see each of your opponents, but you'll only see them for that one match.
I mean, there's so much
that
goes on.
You know, you won't be able to watch England versus Scotland, or you won't be able to watch Ireland versus Italy. You won't be able to see England versus Ireland, England versus Scotland.
Well, you say that you will, but we'll be able to see everything you need to see.
That's the thing, yeah. I don't think you would be able to.
Yeah, you'll get videos of those.
Yeah, he would get video. There would be videos, but I don't know. I think he would go form.
Yeah.
I'd like to think to go. I mean, and I stuck the knife into him because of the whole Brian O'Driscoll thing and blah blah blah. And you know, people will have their opinions on that. But I think to be absolutely honest, I think he would look at his own form first.
Yeah, no, I mean, also going on selection, it's going to be almost strange to see a lot of Scotland players in there.
Yeah, I think that really throws a complete spanner into the works. I think
so he's going to have to play them because they are. Again, I've said to people outside of here that Scotland are massively underrated.
Oh yeah, they've shocked people this year.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie, and I was so angry when they beat Ireland, not because they beat Ireland, just because Ireland's performance was so bad.
I think what made me...
Like we looked like we didn't even want to be there, man. We looked lost on that field. You know, we were second best all the way through that.
Is that because they didn't play very well, or was it because Scotland made them look like that?
It's hard to tell. I think coming off the back of the Italy and the France win, if you were to put Scotland up against them now, I think that game would be a completely different story.
Yeah.
But that said, you've got to play with what you've got, and they certainly did not against Scotland. But fair play to them, fair play to Scotland, because you know they've been, you know, no disrespect to any Scotland fans out there, but they've almost become. I think I mentioned it when we spoke to Scouts that they've become the new Italy. In a way, in the fact that they, for the last couple of years, they were getting hammered. I think they went a whole tournament where they were completely didn't pick up a win.
Right. Okay.
One of the years, even, you know. And there's a lot of ways for that camp to fall apart.
Yeah.
And Vern Cotter's done a great job putting that back together, because he could have just walked. He could have just been like, nah, it's not my job anymore.
Well, don't forget they are the current Five Nations champions.
But yeah, are we going back that far, are we? Bloody hell!
I think.
I bet they're the original home nations champions as well. If we're going to go all the way that far back.
I think Ian Bell keeps mentioning that.
I'm not surprised. Bloody hell! But yeah,
it's great. It's great. It's good to see Scotland, you know, playing so well, and the massive improvement.
As much as I'd have loved to see Ireland absolutely turn them over, because I'm just so unbelievably biased. There's a little bit of me, actually, I love it. Because you have no idea what's going to happen now.
Well, the thing is, it's, you know, do we want the same thing every year where it's, you know, England and Ireland, you know, sometimes France might pop up with a couple of wins.
Yeah.
You know, it can get, I won't say boring, but you want some variety. And now with Scotland playing so well and Ireland playing well, but a bit inconsistent at the minute. And England they haven't started yet. They haven't really played.
Yeah, I really think that it just completely turns a tournament on its head.
Yeah,
and that can only be a good thing.
One of the under 14s parents, he's actually already laid the bet out for next season. He thinks that England won't finish in the top two.
Really?
Next season.
That's a gutsy call.
Yeah.
Who's his prediction then for top two?
He didn't actually say, but
he's keeping that one close.
He didn't actually say, but Christophe, as you can tell, he's our resident Frenchman.
I thought that was Eddie Walsh. I thought Eddie Walsh had French family.
So yeah, Christophe, I will take you up on this bet.
Well, we've voted him now on the podcast. He's got no choice but to take that bet. and he might claim that he doesn't listen to the podcast, but I'm pretty sure a lot of the under 14s parents do. So if any of the under 14s parents are listening right now, make sure you get Christophe to listen to this. In no way can he be allowed to back out of this. A bet is a bet. Oh god! Actually, on the matter of the Sarries, obviously we spoke about Cheltenham North versus Cheltenham Saracens at King George V on February Saturday the 18th. Saturday, March 4th, tomorrow in fact, actually, we are at home to St Mary's Old Boys, who we've got a little bit of a history with, given the whole Liam O'Keefe thing and the fact that both teams, obviously with last season being the exception, obviously because of what happened, they, slipped off the pace a little bit. Understandable.
Yeah.
To be fair, that's not me taking shots at anyone. That's completely understandable.
Yeah.
But the season before that, again, playoff contenders. This season, playoff contenders. Incredibly strong at their place. Might sound slightly disrespectful. Certainly not intended to be, but a little bit of waning a little bit on the road. I think coupled with the fact that we are quite strong at home.
Well, I mean,
that said, they did beat Cheltenham North 36-13 on February 11th, and Berry Hill on January 21st.
I mean, talking of promotion and all the rest of it, the Sarries, the 6 games we've got remaining, they're all pretty winnable games.
Oh yeah,
4 of the 6 are at home.
Yeah, I did read about that. Yeah. That's really good because our home form is like probably our strongest point.
And we've not got to play anyone above us, I don't think.
I think St Mary's is the only one, I think.
Right, okay.
They're in second, we're in fourth as it stands. But there's we're talking
whereas
5 points. So if we can snag a little bonus win, all we've got to do is hope that Hokuko don't pick anything up.
And the teams around us have got to play each other.
But Hokuko are away to Old Richians tomorrow.
So hopefully a Richians win there.
Yeah, so if we can pick up a lovely bonus point win against Mary's, and Richians can pick up a win against Hucklecote. I'm just looking at the scores here. Barts Rugby won't be able to reach them. But if we don't pick up that bonus point win, and they do,
so now,
combined with the Hucklecote result, if Barts can pick up a big win this weekend, tomorrow, that could completely reshuffle the top of that league.
Well, last Saturday, Barts helped us out, didn't they? Cheltenham North helped us out by beating.
Yes, 24-21. I'm just looking at the results right now, actually. Yeah.
So that helps us out.
Because as it stands, we've got Richians on top, 70 points from 16 games, 15 wins and 1 loss. St Mary's in second, 16 games, 57 points, 11 wins, 5 losses. Then Hucklecote, 16 games, 12 wins, 4 losses, 55 points. And then there's us. 16 played, 10 wins, 6 losses, which I don't think we've ever picked up that many losses in a season.
No.
For a good number of years.
No.
So that's a real setback.
But it's speaking to Jimmy Mack, it is almost in our hands now to be second place.
Especially with those games being at home as well.
Yeah.
That's with our home form being as strong as it is, that's probably literally, I don't think we could have planned that better.
No.
I mean, ideally, if we had planned it ourselves, we'd be top. We'd have Richian style success. Yeah. But, we're not given such luxuries. I'm just going to have a quick check of the fixture list here, and I'm just going to see if there's any other team that has as many home games as we do.
I think...
Because I'm pretty sure they don't. By the looks of it, nobody has. Except maybe... I was going to say Frampton Cottrell. I think Frampton Cottrell have got quite a few. But then they're sitting 11th at the minute, and that's probably worked out quite well for them as well in the run up to the end of the season, given their relegation fight. Yeah. Of course, it's always 2 go down. Actually, no, it isn't. It's still always 2 go up, isn't it? Except for Gloucester Premier, because the second place goes into a playoff. But Gloucester 1, Gloucester 2, Gloucester 3, it's always 2 go up, and then the leagues are then balanced out by relegations. So it could be one team going down, it could be North Bristol are on the bottom, could be them going down. You could have all the way up to 9th go down. You could have Cheltenham North going down.
But isn't there some sort of balance as well with areas?
I think it is, especially because with Bristol, because I think the way it works is teams in the north of Bristol, like your St Mary's, like your North Bristol, like your Frampton Cottrell, like your Chipping Sodbury, your Barts Rugby, they play in the Gloucester leagues, Gloucester Premier, Gloucester 1, Gloucester 2. But South Bristol play in the Somerset.
Yeah.
So I think it depends where the teams are getting relegated from. So I think it depends who gets promoted and where the teams from your Tribute, West, North come down. It depends where those teams are based, because some of the Bristol teams they could possibly put in to the Somerset leagues.
Yeah, it's a bit of a headache, isn't it?
It's oh God, I'm glad I don't have that job. I mean, Christ, I sometimes complain how difficult it is to sit here and talk into a microphone, or when we're back at King George V talking to a phone that's on a tripod, and I get a little stressed out about organising that at times. No way in hell would I want that job. Seriously, I'm getting a headache just trying to work it out sitting here. There's no way in hell.
I'll be honest, mate, I get a headache when I try and look for results, and I can't even find teams. I don't know, because there's so many different leagues, I don't know which team is in which league, and
Oh,
by the time the following week comes, I forget what league they're in, so I have to troll through them all.
No, I couldn't do that. No, that's a bizarre one. Right, predictions time. We'll get round to wrapping this up. Predictions time. Six Nations. Your thoughts?
What would you like me to predict?
We'll go with bottom place. Who's taking the wooden spoon home this year?
Spoon. It's going to be between Italy and Wales. Probably Italy, I think.
I think that's probably accurate. I'd imagine. Kind of feel bad for Conor O'Shea, really. I feel bad for anyone who takes the Italy job because they've got a limited amount of resources. They don't have the best standard of league rugby. I mean, you see it in the Pro 12 all the time. I pay a lot of attention to the Pro 12 league because I'm a big Ulster fan. Was a big Leinster fan. Also got quite a soft spot for Connacht. Right. Basically, I like everyone but Munster. And basically, they're getting turned out inside out every week.
Yeah, and Treviso struggle all the time.
Treviso and Zebra, because it was Aironi, wasn't it? And then Aironi folded actually because they couldn't financially withstand that level. So they don't have a very good standard of rugby. Don't get me wrong, it's improving. They're getting better. They are, they're making improvements, and I think probably playing in the Six Nations is helping that. But yeah. Actually, just out of interest, I was going to ask this actually to our guest who we were supposed to have on, and unfortunately he is no longer available.
This month anyway.
This month, he could possibly be on in the future. We're not going to name drop because I don't want to kind of like name and shame him. That would just be horrible. Six Nations relegation and promotion with the second tier competition.
Do you think that's a good thing or a good idea?
I'd like to see it happen. If I'm honest, I think it was certainly.
There's two things there that you could get. The team that comes up will be playing against better opposition, so they have to improve. But on the flip side, the team that goes down will be playing against worse opposition, and will they just fall into that trap of just sort of equaling out and becoming
another second tier,
a worse team than they originally were?
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of I thought possibly actually I kind of looked at it the other way, that actually the teams going down might strengthen the teams in the lower standards, but you could also end up with the what I call like the West Brom effect, where one year they're relegated, the next year they're promoted.
The yo-yo clubs.
Yeah, that's literally what could happen, because I imagine there's probably quite a few teams going to be in that second tier that Italy are just that little bit too strong for, where they've played in the Six Nations.
Is it going to come down to what it always comes down to in professional sport, and that'd be money? That's the only thing.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all.
So your Italy or your Wales or Scotland or whoever goes down would come straight back up again, because they'll annihilate the teams down there.
Yeah,
they'll come straight back up again, and then struggle, then go back down again. It will be.
And then actually that would probably have a worse effect on those second tier teams, because they're not getting a chance to get promoted.
No, and it is all down to the pound note. Yeah,
easily. I think that's what it boils down to at the end of it, is financing.
Yeah,
especially in a lot of those countries where, and I'm not going to try and get all political on this, but where the economy is not the greatest, but essentially those countries where it's not their first sport.
Italy is the perfect place for that, because they are struggling financially.
That was my phone that just went off there. Professionalism.
Professional Dan.
Moving swiftly on. Six Nations winner. What are your thoughts? It's got to be England or Ireland.
It's gonna come down to that last game, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Especially with the bonus points coming in now, that could we could see like a Sarries and Levens.
Yeah.
Ireland beating England and England still winning because of the two, if they can get 2 bonus points. I'm loving the new bonus point system. I think
it's good.
That's so good, because you've really got to work for that extra point.
Well, that's it. I mean, it does exactly what it's meant to do, and it makes teams come out and score tries.
Yeah.
That's the whole idea of it, and it's working.
I think on form alone, it's got to be England. I mean, and it kills me to say it, being an Ireland fan, but we've got to be realistic about this.
But saying that, England haven't started yet. They haven't fired yet.
Then again, I'm actually just looking at this. I've got the table in front of me. Ireland have scored more points and conceded less than anybody in this tournament so far.
I think.
And we've got 2 bonus points.
But don't forget, it's at Ireland, that last game. That,
of course, yeah, I totally forgot about that.
That could be massive.
Yeah, that could be a real momentum shift.
Yeah.
If the pressure gets to England, which we have, at times seen it.
Well, look at it
in
last
the past.
year.
Yeah.
Last year against Wales.
All they had to do was make sure they won that game.
No, it wasn't Wales, was it? It was France, wasn't it?
Yeah. I think Ireland played Wales, didn't they? Oh no, Ireland played Italy and won very convincingly.
Wasn't it the game last year all on the same day where there was like 1 million points scored?
Yeah. Something like that. Something ridiculous amount of points.
The England game was the second game, wasn't it? And
yeah, because I think the first one was Scotland-Wales, and it didn't. And Wales won, but not very convincingly.
Yeah, England were in the driving seat, but then Ireland decided that they were actually going to come out and annihilate.
Yeah, absolutely smash Italy.
Yeah,
but there you go.
Going to my head, I'd say England, but
yeah, as much as it pains me to do so, I would say England. But then there's also like my. It's a weird one. My heart says Ireland because Ireland fan, naturally biased. Head says England, but a tiny voice in my head also wants Scotland. Just for underdogism,
for S&G,
for gets and shiggles. But yeah, definitely.
No, Sodom.
Just
can't have the sweaters winning
it. No, we'd never stop hearing about that from Ian Bell. Never ever. So yeah, that's my prediction. I reckon Ireland, but on the very last day, you're saying
I've got to say England.
You're saying England. What I want to know is what Vicky thinks. This will be interesting now.
I don't really know.
And a guess.
Say a country in the Northern Hemisphere.
Finland?
Oh God, of all the countries you could have picked, that's absolutely outstanding. You've properly made my day.
I haven't been listening for like the last 10 minutes or so,
Oh, thanks for that, Techie. Thanks for that. Good.
That's right, nor have I.
I hear bits that I think are funny and then I shut off again. Sorry, guys.
She says she's sorry, but she's really not at all. So cool. I'm saying Ireland. Vicky's saying Finland. I wouldn't put money on that bet, to be honest with you. I'd keep that to yourself. Actually,
you might want to have that bet with Christoph in the top 2 next year.
Do they even play rugby?
Not in the Six Nations. No,
actually, not in the Six Nations, but I know they do.
Oh, okay.
So do
they play is it some form of like ice rugby or something?
What the hell is ice rugby?
I don't know, but that sounds incredible. Ice rugby.
Is it just like the rug whatever you call the ball, the rugby ball?
The ball.
The yeah, the ball is made out of ice, and you
Sorry, I thought like rugby, like on an ice rink.
So did I.
Yeah. No, why would the ball be made of ice?
Hold on. It's a Scandinavian country, so it's really cold.
Yeah.
So you have a rugby ball made out of ice, and the object of the game is to score tries and win before the ball melts.
Oh, so you're saying completely scrap the clock altogether?
Yeah.
And as long as so you could essentially, in Finland, where it is fairly cold, you could literally be playing a game for 4 days.
Yeah.
It's an endurance sport for the players and the spectators.
If you weren't very good at rugby, you could possibly use a tactic that we call stick it up your jumper and run with it.
Yeah, but then it just stick to you, though, wouldn't
But
it?
then-
Like
then-
your
then
tongue
it-
in a freezer.
But it would melt a lot quicker, wouldn't it?
That's a really good idea. So as soon as you took the lead,
That would be against the rules.
Ah, we got some rules.
Yeah, we have some rules for ice rugby. I'm now the chairman.
chairwoman.
Chairwoman, chairman, same difference.
No, there is a difference. There's a big difference. But yeah, I think that's probably a really good way to wrap the show up, actually. Ice rugby, where you play on an ice rink for as long as you can until the ball melts. There you go, the crazy world of the UTS podcast. So there you go. Yes, ice rugby. I don't know. Maybe in Canada it might be successful, and I think it's pretty much time to just have a look at what March brings us. The first team kick off March tomorrow at home to St Mary's Old Boys. I have absolutely no doubt that match will be complete electric from start to finish. Both teams chasing a playoff spot. No doubt that'll be an incredible show. The following week on the 11th sees the Sarries at home once again in the battle of the CRFCs versus Chipping Sodbury. I think last season the Sarries played the majority of the match with 14 men and still ran out 34-3 winners on that one, so you definitely don't want to miss that. No league game on the 18th. There may be a friendly. There might be one arranged at short notice, so make sure you check out the club's social media pages for that one. We'll drop all of those links at the end of the show. And then the first team return to action the weekend after that, the 25th. They're on the road, Frampton Cotterell, never an easy place to go. They need those points probably just as much as we do in their relegation fight against Bristol North or North Bristol, and they're never an easy place to go. Always a challenging team, so we certainly cannot afford an off day for that trip. The second team return to action tomorrow at home to Newent Seconds, and then they travel to Old Pat's Thirds on the 11th in what has always really been a really entertaining game. Once again, no competitive fixture on the 18th. There may be a friendly. As we mentioned just now, check out the social media pages for that. But they are back at home on the 25th against local rivals Longlevens. The third team are scheduled to kick off their march at home to Gordon League tomorrow. Seems we've got 3 home games tomorrow.
That's not going to work, is it?
3 home games, 2 pitches.
Early kickoff.
I imagine by the time this goes out, that will have probably changed. So again, keep an eye on your social media pages. The third team then return on the 11th, and they host Cirencester Seconds. I've played in a couple of those games, Cirencester Seconds. That was the last game I ever played, actually, for the club. Cirencester Seconds away with the Thirds. And I think I ended up with a concussion. Yeah. And then they close out the month on the 25th on the road to Old Richlands. Again, that would be another really good game. So we definitely advise you, if you're not watching the first team on the road to Frampton Cotterell, head over to Gloucester, head over to Old Richlands, go support the People's Third team if they're actually playing that fixture, and I'd like to think they would do. That's the 25th, and that wraps up the senior teams. During the week, once again, I spoke to Moxy to find out what the Pups calendar was looking like.
As I mentioned earlier, we are hosting a good Minchinhampton side in the County Cup Plate quarter-final on the 5th. The Sarries will be the underdogs in many people's eyes, but not in ours. We have shown so far this season that our group of boys, as a squad, are a match for anyone and are really playing well, individually and as a team. This game will be a tough one to call, and I hope that with no disrespect to Cheltenham North, but the following Sunday, the 12th, is the day set aside for the County Cup Plate semi-final, and at the moment we have a fixture arranged against the North. Hopefully the Sarries Pups will need to postpone or cancel that fixture. Then on the 19th we are at home against a team from Shipton on Stour, where we've never played them before and know nothing about them. But as I said, we can be a test for any team on our day. The final Sunday will be training, possibly with a couple of Gloucester players.
Thanks to Moxy for that. An exciting month ahead for all of the Sarries teams, regardless of age even. Before we go, don't forget to check out the club on social media. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/CheltSarries. Do you use Twitter? Go and check it out. Twitter.com/CheltSarriesRFC. We've got ourselves a Pitch Hero page, pitchhero.com/Cheltenham Saracens RFC. Or if you're a little bit old school like myself, you can check out the official website at cheltenhamsaracensrugby.com. If you're a first-time listener, and some of you might be, with the craziness that is the Six Nations, you might have stumbled your way onto our little show. If you are a first time listener and you want to go and check out a few more shows from the past, you can do so by soundcloud.com/Cheltenham Saracens RFC, or by searching for the UTS podcast on iTunes. All the shows are on there and they're all absolutely free. You don't have to pay a single penny. They're all absolutely free, so go and check them out. They're great for listening to or from work. If you like to walk, or even if you get the bus, or even if you're just at home, you can have it on the background and listen to us. And if you are a user of iTunes and you do subscribe, make sure you give us a rate and a review, because the only way we can improve our show is by your feedback. And we really can't stress that enough. If you want to do it more privately, you can do utspodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to leave us any feedback you want, because that's the only way we can improve our little show. Massive thanks to Moxy for joining me. It's been an interesting chat.
It's been a good one. It's been funny in parts, it's been serious.
Yeah.
We've had all sorts. I'm looking forward to going to Finland to play some ice rugby.
Thanks again to Vicky Mason on the other side of the glass, making sure that our show runs smoothly.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Also, a big thank you to Kevin McLeod of Incompetech.com for our backing track Motherload, which we use royalty-free under the Creative Commons License 3.0. If you ever need any kind of royalty-free music, make sure you check out Incompetech.com. All you've got to do is reference Kevin McLeod in the credits. Both myself and Moxy will be back at the start of April, looking at the run-up to the end of the season, with April set to be a big month for those at the top of the league, and we'll be looking for the ever-important Combination Cup fixtures. So on behalf of myself, behalf of Moxy, and behalf of the Club of Dreams, have an incredible march. Up the Sarries.
Up the Sarries pups.
Get me on that microphone. I'll have a tour.
I'll go on the podcast. Let me go on the podcast.
Bump the reload to the reload. Bump the reload to the reload.